Hi, my name is Becca. Welcome to my channel if you are new here, and if you are not, welcome back. I am a secular homeschooling mom to 3 small kiddos, and today we're going to be talking about a recap of our kindergarten year. If you see me looking off to the side here, I'm just got some notes so I make sure I don't miss out on anything for you guys, and I'm sorry. I've tried to film this 4 different times now, so we're just going to roll with it. She just wants to be with mom today. So first, we're going to talk about the good and the beautiful for kindergarten math. Love this program. It was very open and go, very easy, with the exception of a few different times where we had to supplement extra worksheets for my son. This program went great. We are not using this for first grade. We'll do more on that in a different video, but it has nothing to do with the program. I would absolutely do this one again, especially if you're new to homeschooling. This program was great. The second thing that we're going to talk about is reading, and this was our struggle for this year. So we started with how to teach your kid in 100 easy lessons. That went okay until about halfway through. It was just really a struggle to be able to do the reading. We weren't aware of this at the time, but I think my son's borderline dyslexic, so it just wasn't clicking in his brain the way that it needed to, but it also became overwhelming. So if you're familiar with that program at all, they would have stories that you would have to read, and some of these stories took up a whole page, and that was really overwhelming for my son to go, wait, I have to read all of this, and so we would have to take a piece of paper to cover up the words and stuff, and it was a lot. So we ended up stopping doing that. We were sure at that point that we were going to do all about reading, but I wanted to try to wait to use that until first grade because I felt it might be too much or too overwhelming for him to do something that was much more structured, which was something that we weren't used to at that time. So we went to the Bob books. I got a big bundle pack from Costco, and I bought a workbook that went with the book series. And we would talk about the new sounds in the books, and he would read the book. We would do a couple worksheets and then go back to reading the book. And we do that back and forth until he was able to master that book. That just became very, it just didn't work out for us. It was overwhelming and frustrating for my son. So we just went ahead jumped in with both feet into all about reading, and that has been a game changer. Love that program. We'll continue with that into first grade and beyond that. We really do love that program. Another thing that we did was build your library for kindergarten. It's all around the world. Really love that program. What that did is it took us to the different continents around the world. We talked about a few of the major countries in each continent, and then it had stories, and then you learned from these stories, and then different video links. Love that program. We'll be doing that again in the future. They do have a lot more levels for Build Your Library. We're not doing that now. The only reason being is that it tends to feel like a lot at some points, keeping up with the books and stuff. And I know I didn't want to add that with a young baby trying to follow them around and stuff. So we're not going to be doing that next year, but we are picking up on that. And that one was actually really inexpensive. I know some people don't want to do Build Your Library because all the books that you need tends to get expensive, but we didn't even purchase any of the spines. We would just, a week or so before we go to the next topic, I would just reserve all of the books that were available at my library. If a few of the books weren't available, I didn't sweat about it. I just used whatever was available at the library. We would read them, return them, and then do that all over again. So that worked great for us. The one drawback from that is I felt like when we got to the United States that it was severely lacking. There was so much effort put into all the other countries, but not the United States, and I wanted to add more to that. So I did do a social studies unit from Tara West, and that's from Teachers Pay Teachers. And I took the United States portion and I added that to that, and then any of the other countries that she talked about in her program, I kind of added like the map. She had a map thing that where you would color in a map every time you talked about a country and then you put it together as a book. I would just separate that out throughout the Build Your Library program as extras. If we got to it, then we did that in the other countries. I really liked that. There was a lot of hands-on stuff. It talked about some of the more well-known presidents, the major landscapes in America, like Statue of Liberty, Mount Rushmore, things like that. Really, really like that. And I would recommend that if you are in the United States to supplement something for that. So we just spent extra time on the United States portion when we did Build Your Library to accommodate that. Also from Tara West, we did the kindergarten science bundle. This had life science, earth science, physical science, the 5 senses, and one more that I can't remember off the top of my head, but it had a bundle. This one, I would say, is a toss-up. There were certain things like in life science, I didn't feel like that added any knowledge at all. For my son, we have, he already knew that the different parts of a seed and how that grows into a plant and stuff like that. So I felt like that was time that we could have used elsewhere, but it might be beneficial for your family. So in the future, it came with the space. It also came with space. We did not use space at all. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I think in the future, if I was going to use this with Tara West, I would have just purchased the three science units that we did use instead of getting the whole bundle. I didn't feel like senses were needed. We didn't use space. We didn't really benefit from life science. So I would do that in the future. For space, the reason why we didn't do that is because I found a really good program through Blossom and Root, which was teaching your child about space through a story. So there was an alien on planet L21 who was doing a school project on Earth. She contacted Earth, and we were supposed to bring a bunch of stuff from Earth over to L21 so she could complete her project, and you would as you pass the different planets in the solar system, you would talk about them. My son loved it. There was a lot of engaging parts to it. We loved the video links that did come with it. I feel like parts of it kind of fell flat. I believe it's a 36-week program to go through full school year, and I felt like the last 4 weeks or so did not add anything. It was just trying to get you to that 36-week mark. So we cut off a bunch at the end that I didn't feel like added to the program at all. In the future, I just won't even attempt to do the last few weeks, and I would probably add on some more, maybe like a science experiment. She does recommend doing models and things like that. It didn't work into our family at this time, but when we do redo this program, when my second is of age, we will do something like that to add on. So that was great. Also from Blossom and Roots, we did a history of me. That completely fell flat. We did that for a few weeks and we just stopped. It was all about, the whole premise of it is supposed to learn about history through the history of your family, to kind of get your child to understand the concept of history that way. It was a lot of interviewing family members and doing worksheets and family trees and stuff. It just felt like a lot of busy work. We could have talked about that differently to get them to understand that. So in the future, I would have not have bought that program at all. I believe that one came with a bundle with our, I don't know if it was art or music or something. It came with the bundle, but in the future, I wouldn't have gotten that program at all. Also from Blossom and Root, we did an art and composer study. Now, I felt like this wasn't appropriate for our family for kindergarten. And the reason being is that there were a lot of composers or artists that were chosen, that a lot of their stuff was inspired by slavery, and it was bringing up certain topics of conversation that was not ready for my son. He's not old enough to understand those things, and I felt like maybe if he was in 2nd grade or something, that would be an easier conversation, easier for him to understand. Not that those topics aren't important, it just wasn't good for our family at this stage for his age. So we ended up picking and choosing different things, and we ended up taking a picture of the composer or the artist for that week or that section, and I put pictures on a piece of paper. I just copied and pasted them, and then I wrote a little snippet about each person, and we would either look at some of the art that they made, or we would just listen to the music that they've made while we were doing the rest of our other schooling. And I put that as a section in our morning menu. And that was our kindergarten year, guys. I am really proud of my son for everything that he has been able to accomplish this last year. He has grown so much, and that just makes my heart so happy. And we have a clear vision now, I feel, of where we kind of want our homeschool to be heading toward. I'm sure things will change in the future, but for right now, we are really enjoying everything that we're doing for homeschooling here. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button for more videos like this, leave a comment down below, get that conversation started, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.